So I wanted to make this video quickly and talk about why a lot of credit repair companies are actually getting in trouble. We're going to cover 3 points and specifically why you need to pay attention to when selecting your next credit repair company. This topic is a must because what's happening now, especially around the industry and how the regulators are cracking down on some of these bad practices when it comes to credit repair and how it may potentially affect your file if you're already existing with a credit repair company and you're doing a process and you're already a customer with them, and how you can go ahead and put yourself in position not to work with some of the people who are potentially doing things that are injurious to your file and they may hurt you long term. Let's get you started. So as I stated, we're going to talk about 3 things. First thing is the question of the type of credit repair company that you're choosing. Have you done your research on them? There's a lot of reasons why I say this is because on a personal level, I've seen a lot of customers go through these credit repair companies, hopping from one company to another. I talked about it. I created a video on this. I called it credit repair company hopping. And why you need to pay attention to this is because when you're starting from scratch and you're doing credit repair and you need help, you need to really understand the type of company that you're engaging. What is their level of expertise in terms of credit repair? What are some of the things they talk about regularly? If they have a YouTube channel, what are some of the things that they know very well? And are they educating you the right way, right? So I believe, the process of transparency is very critical. As a credit repair company, if you're lacking transparency, it's going to affect you in a very negative way. The reason why, it's because you need to be aware of the processes that these companies are taking. The reason why you need to be aware, it's because every single move that they take is going to indirectly or directly affect you. And especially when it comes to your personal credit file, it's directly going to affect you. The type of responses you get from the creditors to the type of investigators that are behind the scenes looking at your file, when it comes to disputing, resolution, when it comes to the creditors, all these type of things play into the fact of how the strategies behind the credit repair company and how they're used and executed to land you the type of results that you're looking for. It's not always the case that you're going to get the best results. It does take some time. And the reason I say that is because a lot of credit repair companies out there are doing illegal tactics. And I keep mentioning this so many different times. And you can verify this type of strategies, right? You just simply have to call the credit reporting agencies and contact them and ask them when was the last time they received a letter from you, just to get some idea, right? If they say, well, we just got an identity theft claim against some of the creditors on your file and we just put an ID theft stuff on there and all that kind of stuff, you kind of know the backstory behind the strategy used. So, know the type of resources that the credit repair company is going to be using and why they're landing themselves in trouble if they don't do it the right way, and how your file can be jeopardized if you don't follow the right structures. That's very critical. A lot of people don't realize that, but it's one of the most critical components of understanding the game long term. You, on the other side, are essentially coming into a position where you're trying to get credit repair done. You're trying to hire a company that you believe will get you the results. But in order to get those results, you need to know what exactly is happening behind the scenes to achieve the results. This is a complicated part, and it's not the easiest thing to figure out. So the biggest thing you can ask yourself is, the strategies that you're using, are they gray area, illegal, or are they ethical? And if so ethical, what's the time frames that I'm working with? What are some of the guarantees that I have from your side that you're not going to get my profile in a mess or I'll be in trouble? And what are some of the structures that you use when it comes to fixing my credit? So that's one of the questions, and I think a series of questions you need to ask prior to employing a credit repair company on your behalf. Point number two. Okay, so we're here and we talked about some of the questions and why you need to do your research on the credit repair company. There's a lot of credit repair companies getting in trouble is because they're making false promises. We know false promises is not the way to lead a consumer into making a proper decision when it comes to fixing credit. The reason why they make false promises is, number one, they're desperate, they need the revenue, income, and they really want you as a customer because they're lacking behind on some quotas that they set for themselves. And I think at the end of the day is they're giving up all moral and ethical standards of doing it the right way, and they're pressuring you into positioning the actual credit repair service look like it's a miracle. And I think that a lot of people fall for it, not saying that you're gullible. It happens to the best of us. And I think what ends up happening is we're just promised so much and we see the outcome and it's just so convincing and we jump onto it. So that's one of the biggest reasons why some of these credit repair companies are getting trouble from the federal authorities and even state level authorities. The second thing you have to keep in mind is, okay, outside of the promises that they're making you, they're also making you feel like if you don't go through them, then you're wasting time and you're not going to get the results fast. And the reality of credit repair is it is a game of patience. It's going to definitely take you some time. You cannot accelerate the process. You don't control the credit reporting agencies. And I cannot emphasize more on this because I keep repeating it on my videos throughout my channel. And I think it's very critical that you understand that it's a long-term game. Now, does it mean it's a long-term game that you have to wait years to get the outcome? Absolutely not. You can start getting results as soon as 30 days in terms of starting as simple as removing personal details from your report that are no longer relevant to you. That's the first step, right? And then if you understand that it's a game of patience, then everything thereafter is based on goal setting. And goal setting doesn't necessarily mean the negatives come off automatically. It could simply be, I'm setting myself a goal to make the credit reporting agencies accountable for the information they have on those reports and ensure that whatever information I send out and the responses I get back is very progressive for you. It doesn't have to be progressive, it's not removed. It's progressive for you because you have the results of what they said and you have evidence that maybe it wasn't done the right way, and then you take that information and you play the next game. You play round 2. And that's where the magic happens. You really have to understand. You don't get results in 30 days for everything. You have to wait, you have to be patient, but if you structure it the right way, the results that you get are definitive. They don't come back, these negative items are not going to just pop back into your report because in the first place, they're not compliant. So if they're not compliant and if they're not structured the right way, there's no reason they should be coming back in your reports. So that's the second point, right? Like, don't fall for credit repair companies that are promising you short deadlines. Even though a lot of people can say I do it and they actually do it and they get the results, the behind the scenes of those results are tactical, but at the same time they're also illegal. And if they're illegal, that means you cannot, depend and bank on that. If they're illegal, it's going to come back and it's going to bite you a couple of months down the road. And when it does, it's going to put you in a lot of trouble. And you're going to be running around scrambling, trying to do the long game when that time happens. The aftermath is no playing field, right? So if you're trying to play the long game after the fact of damaging your profile and getting in trouble, it's not really a good position to be in. And a lot of credit repair companies not even going to touch your file. They can promise you otherwise, but they're going to take it and damage it even beyond. And in fact, it actually takes a lot more longer to fix the damage done than you believe that if you started on a long game in the first place. So it's a question of start it right from the get-go, play the long game from the get-go, so don't get yourself in trouble, trying to speed up the process. So they get in trouble. These credit repair companies get in trouble because they try to shortcut, right? They try to shortcut. They promise you the world and they tell you, hey, we're going to get it done in like a very short period of time and you're going to get the best results possible. And that reality is far from the truth. And you'll have to be careful with that because the reason why these credit repair companies are shutting down is because of those false promises. So that was point number 2. Now we're on our third point. The third point is very, very simple. So we talked about the first one, which was understand the process that these credit repair companies are going to be taking. The second point we talked about is, are they promising you short time frames because they can't really control it and they're getting in trouble. The third point is, the negative accounts that you have, whether it's been a credit report or whether it's an actual debt that you carry, the obligation is still on you. You still have to worry about the debt. The only way you can actually walk out of a debt is through bankruptcy or consumer proposal or whatever the situation is, or you pay it off. Those are the 3 realistic scenarios of really getting rid of bad debt. So you have to consider yourself. The credit repair is just a structure in which your credit profile is representing you in a way that is favorable or not so favorable to a creditor that you're applying with, whether it be a mortgage, whether it be a credit card, whether it be a loan, whatever the scenario. The credit report is not obliged to report a lot of debt. Some of these personal debts and loans, that you get, or you can actually, let's say borrow out there, some of the non-bank lenders out there can give you loans that are not reporting to your credit. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing. However, what it is like you don't forget the obligations that you're carrying. You still owe that debt and you have to pay that debt back. So if you do think that credit repair is a way that you don't have to pay that debt back and you can just walk out on it, it's a very dangerous situation to position yourself. See, a lot of credit repair companies are stating that wait until your debt goes into charge-off, come back to us, and we'll take care of it for you. We'll even let the collections touch it. Now, that's a strategy a lot of people use illegally. Now, you can get away with it, but the problem there is that, you can get sued. There's a lot of different things that's going to happen. Collection agencies can keep buying and selling this debt, and then you can have a lot more negatives pop up. And it's bad for you, but it's good for them because that same credit repair company that is helping you now is making a passive revenue stream from you because these collection agencies keep popping up and you're going to go back to that same specialist who promised you that don't worry about the debt, we'll take care of it. What's happening now is it's delaying the inevitable of your perfect credit score, ideal score that you want, and it's hurting you long term. So there's no point of trying to walk out from a debt. Try to work with your creditor. If you're going to be, late on a payment that you're going to, let's say it's a credit card bill, you can't make it this month, you don't have the resources, communicate with the creditor. Call them up and say, look, I always make my bills on time. I'm going through a hardship. Can I structure a payment with you that I don't have to worry about, it reporting as a late payment? And in most circumstances, you do your best, you communicate with them and they'll understand. See, the goodwill letters is after the fact, but if you're proactive when it comes to dealing with your creditors, you're going to get a lot better outcome. And that's the magic right there. Okay, so if any credit repair companies are promising you that they're going to get rid of the debt for you, they just fix your credit, the long-term game, all the skeletons that's piling up into an internal database between all the institutions that are shared for resource planning and risk mitigation is not worth your while. It's not worth you risking your entire profile and your personal finances and budget on, especially when it comes to you trying to build your wealth with credit. So I hope this video gave you some insights on some of the dangers that you need to be careful with when it comes to credit repair and why the credit repair companies are actually getting themselves in trouble. So if you're new to this channel, you love the videos that I share, you haven't subscribed yet, why don't you consider subscribing and turning that bell icon on? So every time there's a video like this, you'll be first to be notified. If you like the content that I shared with you, don't forget to like this video. Leave a comment below. Do you agree on what are some of the things I said? Do you agree that a lot of these credit repair companies are definitely promising you the wrong things? And don't forget to share this video with those that you feel would benefit from this. And I look forward to helping you guys and seeing you guys on the next one. This is your guide and mentor, Ali Taraftar. Bye for now.